Hello. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Kathleen Walls here. All right, I know it's late, but I said that I was going to get it in before the day ended. And I am here for another segment of Greater Seeds. So if you were ready for, in some ways, like a bedtime story, if you want some food to think about, some food for thought, I am going to be reading today from Marianne Williamson's The Law of Divine Compensation. And so I'm going to read chapter 1. We'll talk about it a little bit. But as I mentioned before, Greater Seeds is me going into my enormous library of books and reading pieces from them, because I firmly believe that there's a lot of information in books, a lot of seeds, and these seeds are to inspire, motivate, encourage, inform, and we never know what's inside of a seed until we nurture it, right? But the real goody good stuff is inside the seed. So I'm here to plant those greater seeds and help open them up so that we can see what's really inside. And so, like I said, hello. So tonight's reading is going to come from The Divine Law of Compensation by Marianne Williamson. This is chapter 1, The Law of Divine Compensation. Some people walk into a room and the word winner is written all over them. You don't necessarily know what their secret is, but you wish you had it. Was it their childhood programming, family connections, some amazing talent? As many successful people as there are in the world, there are that many reasons for success. But one kind of material abundance derives from an almost outworldly charisma, a sense of magic. Some people carry around with them like an aura of destiny. There may or may not have been the past experiences one normally associates with material success. Their success seems almost to have come from something else. This book is about that quote-unquote something else and the power that it gives us. It's about a spiritual zone that has nothing to do with where we've been, how or whether we've been educated, or whether we've succeeded so far or have failed miserably. It's about the ultimate success and perfection of God, potential in all of us, whether made manifest or not, yet always available for full expression. Each of us is pregnant with the manifestation of that perfection, for that is who we are. By aligning yourself with thoughts of infinite love for yourself and others, you gain dominion over the lower thought forms of the world. I'm going to read that again. By aligning yourself with the thoughts of infinite love for yourself and others, you gain dominion over the lower thought forms of the world. This way is not a substitute for any worldly path to success, so much as an inner way that informs all others. It is a path to material abundance through immaterial means, and a set of spiritual keys to worldly power. The ways of spirit are not the ways of sacrifice, but rather a way of opening yourself fully to the infinite glories of the universe. The glories are there. They merely await your acceptance. What follows is an explanation of what they are, how they operate, and how they can tap into them. And how you can tap into them. What follows is an explanation of what they are, how they operate, and how you can tap into them. The universe is set up to work on your behalf. The world is not a giant, uncaring, random expression of biological processes, but rather a living, breathing reflection of love for all living things. The universe itself is miraculous. You do not have to believe this, of course. It might not feel that way to you at all. But spiritual laws aren't called the quote-unquote good news for nothing. Spiritual truth is always at work, beyond what the eye can see. It describes an invisible quote-unquote other world that exists in a realm beyond our moral circumstances. Our interaction with the spiritual world is governed by our thoughts. When we know this truth and consciously align our thoughts with it, sometimes even despite how we feel, we activate its spiritual power. We transform our moral circumstances by bringing our thoughts about them into alignment with a world that lies beyond. If you think of yourself as being at the effect of a random universe that does not care about you, then you will experience your life that way. If you think of yourself as being at the effect of a loving universe that does care about you, then you will experience your life that way. No matter what is happening in our lives, we choose how we wish to think about it. And the greatest gift we give ourselves is often our willingness to change our minds. Despite what might seem to be the saddest and most intractable situation, we have the power to believe that something else is possible, that things can change, that miracle can happen. This simple shift in how we think can make all the difference in what happens next. How we think releases an infinite number of possibilities that could not have occurred had we not believed that they were possible. Such is the power of our thoughts to attract all as well as deflect miraculous breakthroughs. Free will means you can think whatever you want to think. You cannot, however, make untrue what is true or true what is untrue. The universe does care about you. The universe is set up to work on your behalf. And the universe is capable of bringing miraculous transformation to any situation of brokenness or lack. Regardless of what has happened in your life, the universe is able and prepared to bring you comfort and repair. You are loved, and your purpose is to love. From a mind filled with infinite love comes the power to create infinite possibilities. We have the power to think in ways that reflect and attract all the love in the world. Such thinking is called enlightenment. Enlightenment is not a process we work toward, but a choice available to us in any instant. Enlightenment is the answer to every problem. In any situation where you seem to be at the effect of forces over which you have no control, remember that God dwells within your mind, and there are no forces over which He has no control. Therefore, through His power within you, there are no mortal conditions over which you are powerless. Whenever your good is obscured by the appearances of a non-loving world, the universe is programmed to lift you out of that condition and return you to an abundant state. As an expression of divine perfection, the universe is both As an expression of divine perfection, the universe is both self-organizing and self-correcting. To whatever extent your mind is aligned with love, you will receive divine compensation for any lack in your material existence. From spiritual substance will come material manifestation. This is not just a theory, it is a fact. It is a law by which the universe operates. I call it the law of divine compensation. Just as there are objective, discernible laws of external phenomena, so there are objective, discernible laws of internal phenomena. The law of gravity, for instance, is not just a belief. It is a true whether or not you believe it. Spiritual laws are not just beliefs either. They are descriptions of how consciousness operates. Once we know this law, that there is a natural tendency of the universe to improve all things, then we lean naturally into the arms of God and allow Him to lift us up. We surrender our thoughts, then He uplifts our thoughts. Then our experiences change. The practical issue is whether we choose thoughts that activate or deactivate the law of divine compensation. We activate it with every loving thought. We deactivate it when we give more credence to the reality and power of the material world than to the reality and power of love. If our circumstances tempt us to think thoughts such as, I must not be good enough, I will never have another chance, it will take forever for this to right itself, or I hate whoever is to blame for this, then miracles, though they are programmed into the nature of the universe, cannot make their way into our awareness. With every thought we think, we either summon or block a miracle. It is not our circumstances, then, but rather our thoughts about our circumstances that determine our power to transform them. The law of divine compensation applies equally to all situations. But in this book, we will focus on its application to money and the lack thereof. In a time of economic uncertainty, when circumstances make it particularly tempting to believe in the scarcity of the material plane over the abundance of the spiritual, our capacity to think differently is the miracle worker's edge. Bills stare you in the face. Foreclosure looms. Credit is wrecked. Jobs aren't available. And with all that comes chaos on many fronts. Who doesn't need a miracle then? If you identify only with your body and its reality, rather than with your spirit and its reality, then you're tempted to think that diminished material assets somehow diminish who you are. But you are not merely a being of the material world. You are a being of unlimited spirit. And in spirit, there is no lack. You are not lacking just because your circumstances are. If your core belief is, I quote unquote lack, and you carry that belief with you, then you will subconsciously perpetuate or create the circumstances that reflect the belief. But your circumstances are completely malleable. They simply reflect the dictates of your mind. Regardless of what limits exist in your material world, your immutable truth is that you are an unlimited spiritual being. By remembering this, you summon the law of divine compensation. You are a loving idea in the mind of God. Circumstances should not and need not tempt you to believe otherwise. The universe showers you with love, not because of what you have done or not done, but because of who you are. Think of the universe itself as a personal love note from God to you. God is love. And in sharing his love, you share his power. By aligning yourself with thoughts of infinite love for yourself and others, you gain dominion over the lower thought forms of the world. In a material sense, your situation might indeed be bleak. You might have been given a raw deal, even been betrayed by others. You yourself might have made a huge mistake. Still, what matters is what you think now. Are you lingering in the past, or are you allowing for a miracle in the present? Are you blaming yourself and others, or blessing yourself and others? Are you clinging to your faith in the reality of the disaster, or opening your mind to the possibility of a miracle? I'm going to read that again. Are you clinging to your faith in the reality of the disaster, or opening your mind to the possibility of a miracle? Realign your thoughts with the thoughts of God, and in any given instant, the universe is ready to begin again. The laws of time and space are more malleable than we think. Mistakes and wrong turns need not throw us off. The capacity for connection is built into the universe, just as it is into the workings of a GPS. If you've programmed an address into your GPS, but then take a different turn than it is recommended, the GPS automatically creates a new route, and so does the universe. Perhaps you thought you'd get to where you wanted to be financially through achieving a certain credential, doing a particular job, or making a particular investment. But then something happened. The economy worsened. You made a mistake, or someone else did. The law of divine compensation gives us the assurance that the universe will simply create a new route. What is lacking shall become abundant, and what is wounded shall be healed. From out of the quote-unquote blue or miracle-mindedness, miracles will flow forth naturally. Why? Because perfection is your eternal home, to which the universe is programmed to return you whenever you have deviated, for whatever reason, from the thoughts that get and keep you there. That is how you are loved. That is how loved you are. That is how loved you are. All right, so that comes from chapter 1 of Marianne Williamson's The Law of Divine Compensation. Again, welcome to Greater Seeds, where I will be doing some readings from my books that have so many good nuggets here that many times we just need to take a moment. We need to sit, we need to listen, we need to contemplate, we need to reflect, we need to journal, we need to break it down and see how to apply all of this great information. We have so many tools and so many gems and ways that we can really, really live a healthy life. And so I'm going to share different readings as I am so led. You can check out some other ones that I've done on my page. I've read from my book. I've been trying to post one that I read from Florence Shin Shovel, The Game of Life, but for whatever reason, that one seems to be having a little difficulty uploading. But I'm going to keep trying. All right, so the message for today is really about you minding your thoughts. And sometimes I know our first mind may be a negative mind or a negative thought. And if that's the case, then you just go on and get that thought out your head and move on to the positive thought. And write it down so that way you can see what the thought is saying. And if it's not saying something positive, if it's not an abundant thought, but rather a fear thought or a lack thought, then you just rewrite it. All right. This is where those affirmations come from. Sometimes we have to retrain our brains. We have been pre-programmed many times by the environments that we're in. So it's all right. We just deprogram ourselves and reprogram ourselves. We do it all the time with computers and system updates and software updates. We have to update ourselves as well. We have to update our beliefs. Some things that may have been true in the past are not true now. They may not be a universal truth. They may not be a timeless truth. They may have just been a momentary truth, something that worked, and now it has become dysfunctional. So we have to make sure that we're paying attention to what we are thinking and how those thoughts are impacting our life, our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors. All right, so you have the ability to create your greatest life. That's my motto, is for people to live your greatest life. We have to take time and get clear on what our greatest life looks like and feels like, because it's different for everybody. What I desire, what I say my greatest life is, may not be what yours is, and that's fine. We may even have some similarities, but the way in which it presents itself may be different. So there is enough for everyone. There's more than enough, and that's that abundant mindset. So we got to get out of that fear mindset. A fear mindset leads us to feeling lack, envy, jealousy, all of that nonsense that is not even needed. When we realize that it's an abundant mindset, then you understand that I can have something and you can have something, and you having it doesn't take away from me, and me having it doesn't take away from you. There's more than enough to go around. And as it talked about in the first chapter of the Law of Divine Compensation, which I read from Marianne Marianne Williamson's book. I didn't change the woman's name. Marianne Williamson's book. We can make sure that we are thinking abundantly, and that opens us up to receiving miracles, and that also opens us up so that we can move from inspiration to manifestation. All right, so I will see you all another day. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow me for more. And I'll talk with you another day. Have a great evening. Bye.